B4BConnect.com introduces you to Mike Robinson, the president and founder of Fourth and Goal Training LLC, a training and development organization for high school athletes in Northwest Ohio. Mike, can you talk a little bit about Fourth and Goal Training and some of the services that you offer?
Well, Fourth and Goal Training is a company where we started to work with student athletes in the Toledo area. Services that we offer: speed and agility and quickness training, and we also offer academic support, and we also help kids get exposure.
When did you start Fourth and Goal Training, and what originally gave you the desire to do it?
That's a good one. When we started back in 2011, it was a tough time. I was coaching at Toledo St. Francis, and I saw a need that a lot of kids didn't do anything in the off season, and they didn't get a lot of exposure and a lot of training going on. And I was just wondering, why isn't things like this happening in the area, and why hasn't anybody started? So I started looking into things. I've linked up with my buddy Hannibal, who is actually a coach now at University of Alabama, and we decided to come together and hold free training sessions for student athletes in their off season. And from that point, we started to snowball, and kids started jumping on board. And at that point, we figured we had something good here.
How has awareness of Fourth and Goal Training grown among athletes in the area since its inception? And what are your relationships like with coaches and media in the region?
It was pretty small. We used to host sessions, only had about 2 or 3 kids come out. And at that point, we were a little discouraged. Like, hey, I don't know why kids aren't coming out. And then as we kept it going and kept moving and kept pushing forward, we started to see that kids start finding out about it, and that was the biggest thing. So once kids start finding out about what we do and who we are, it started growing really fast. And the biggest part of it was the growth part was, we reached out to these kids and we reached out to the coaches. When we first had our first combine last year, we had over 80 kids come. We stopped at every high school in the area in Southeast Michigan and Northwest Ohio, introduced, shook hands with every coach, let them know who we are and what our affiliation with them would be, that we're here to help their program and help their kids get better and not to stray them away from what they're doing at the school. And every coach took heed to that, and they liked what we had going on. And so from that point, the coaches got on board. BCSN, which is a local sports network here in Toledo, they got on board. They were interested in what we were doing. It was the first of its kind to have a big exposure event for high school athletes in the Toledo area. And I was just really excited that BCSN would jump on board. And at that point, everyone wanted to be a part of it, and the kids are gaining immensely from it.
What are your biggest goals from an organizational standpoint? Do you have any plans to extend your reach, or do you just kind of want to focus your efforts on the athletes here in Northwest Ohio?
Well, the goal right now is to become nonprofit. And right now, working with Toledo Chamber of Commerce and their programs, they've helped us reach out and get those resources to become to get to that point of nonprofit status. So our goal right now is to get to nonprofit status and be able to do more for more kids in this area, and hopefully extend after we get a little bit more success here in Toledo.
And it seems like over the years, athletes are just looking at their high school careers as a gateway to big-time college sports, especially with the attention they receive and seek on social media like Twitter. It's impressive that Fourth and Goal Training is involved with more than just on-the-field training. Can you talk about your efforts to kind of stress the importance of the term student-athlete?
That's the key. You can't go to college and play football or any sport for that matter unless you're an excellent student. And that's the main thing that these schools look for. They look for huge character things, and being a student is not just about being in the books. It's about being a student of life and learning. And learning how to use social media, like you said, such as Twitter, and how to behave. And these kids growing up in that age of social media, where when I came into college, Facebook had first came out, so it was, I was mature a little bit more than these kids now. So we're helping these guys understand what they need to do from an aspect as in the books and as on social media, and also with academic support. We stress that every day. Everything that the first thing I ask when I talk to an athlete is, how are your grades? It's not, how's your athletic ability getting better? It's how's your grades? And we stress that every single time, because that's the most important thing about it. You can't play high school football or any sport without grades. You can't play college sports without grades. So that's the one thing that we stress the most, is the student first. You're not a student, then we don't want to work with you.
I know you're always holding different things like clinics, camps, and combines in Toledo for local athletes. Are there opportunities when you travel kids to camps on different college campuses?
Yeah, so actually last summer we took our first bus trip down to the Ohio State University football camp. We had a few guys that had never been to Columbus or to the football camp down there. So what we did was we took them down there. They stayed for the 2-day camp. They got exposed to being on that campus, being around a really rich traditional football culture, and being able to see that campus. And these guys loved it.
You mentioned earlier that you've recently become a member of the Toledo Regional Chamber of Commerce in the past few months. As a small business owner, how important is that connection for you?
It's the only thing that kept us alive. Without the Chamber of Commerce, I honestly believe that without their resources and without them putting the time in helping me financially plan and forecast and put together a business plan, I wouldn't have had a fair shot. I think I would have struggled as I did in the beginning stages, but they had those sources and those resources. To help us get to that next level, and they still work with us every day. Anything that I ask or anything that I need, they can point you in the right direction. And becoming a member is just probably the best thing that I think I've done this year so far. Becoming a member of the chamber is just it's opened so many doors to different people who didn't even know anything about it. They get the kids involved, and now we can spread what we do to other people. And I think that at the end of the day, the chamber is, if you have a business, you need to be a part of it.